Revelations chapter 18. It reads, After this I saw another angel descending from heaven, having great authority, and the earth was illuminated by his glory. And he cried out with a strong voice, saying, She is fallen! Babylon the Great is fallen! And she has become a dwelling place of demons, a place where every unclean spirit and every unclean hated bird lurks. For because of the wine of the passion of her sexual immorality, all the nations have fallen victim, and the kings of the earth committed sexual immorality with her. And the merchants of the earth became rich owing to the power of her shameless luxury. And I heard another voice out of heaven say, Get out of her, my people, if you do not want to share with her in her sins, and if you do not want to receive part of her plagues. For her sins massed together clear up to heaven, and God has called her acts of injustice to mind. Repay her in the way she treated others. Yes, pay her back double portion the things she have done. And the cup she has mix a double portion for her. To the extent that she glorify herself and live in shameless luxury, to that extent, give her torment and mourning. For she keeps saying in her heart, I sit as queen. I am not a widow. I will never see mourning. That is why on one day her plagues will come, death and mourning and famine, and she will be completely burnt with fire. Because the Lord God who judged her is strong. And the kings of the earth who committed sexual immorality with her and lived with her in shameless luxury will weep and beat themselves in grief over her when they see the smoke from her burning. They will stand at a distance because of their fear of her torment and say, Too bad, you great city. Babylon, you strong city, because in 1 hour your judgment has arrived. Also, the merchants of the earth are weeping and mourning over her, because there is no one to buy full cargo anymore. A full cargo of gold, silver, precious stones, pearls, fine linen, purple cloth, silk, and scarlet cloth, and everything made from scented wood, and every sort of object made from ivory, and from precious wood, copper, iron, and marble. Also, cinnamon, Indian spice, incense, perfume oil, frankincense, wine, olive oil, fine flour, wheat, cattle, sheep, horses, carriages, slaves, and human lives. Yes, the fine fruit that you desired has left you, and all the delicacies and the splendid things have vanished from you, never to be found again. The merchants who sold these things, who became rich from her, will stand at a distance because of their fear of her torment, and will weep and mourn, saying, Too bad, the great city, clothed with fine linen, purple and scarlet and richly adorned with gold ornaments, precious stones and pearls, because in 1 hour such great riches have been devastated. And every ship captain, every seafaring person, and sailors, and all those who made a living by the sea stood at a distance, and cried out, and looked at the smoke burning, and said, What a city is like the great city. They threw dust on their heads, and cried out, weeping and mourning, and said, Too bad, the great city, in which all those who had ships at the sea became rich from her wealth, because in 1 hour she has been devastated. Be glad over her, O heavens, Also you holy ones and apostles and prophets, because God has pronounced his judgment on her in your behalf. And a strong angel lift up a stone like a great millstone and hurl it into the sea, saying, thus with a swift pitch will Babylon the Great be hurled down, and she will never be found again. And the sound of the singers who accompany themselves on the harps of musicians and flutists and the trumpeters will never be heard in you again. And no craftsman who practice any trade will ever be found in you again. And no sound of a millstone will ever be heard in you again. No light of a lamp will ever shine in you again. And no voice of a bridegroom of the bride will ever be heard in you again. For your merchants were the top-ranking men of the earth, and by your spiritistic practices, all the nations was misled. Yes, in her was found the blood of prophets, and of holy ones, and of all those who have been slaughtered on the earth. And that's the end of the reading. I'm King Z. Ashe Jr. Royal Victory, Father. 1000.